morning. This is a Thursday, December 21st meeting of the Governing Board. This is a regular meeting. I'm calling the meeting to order, and if you would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please stand if you can. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States, to the republic, one nation, indivisible. Thank you. We do have a quorum. We've got 7 of our 9 members. We have 2 excused absences. And this is a regular meeting of the Governing Board. Before we get down to business, a couple housekeeping notes. This is a voting meeting of the Governing Board, and according to Arizona Open Statutes, as open meeting of the Arizona Planning Committee, before the board votes, we will have the opportunity for cardholder comments on a topic to be discussed. All comments will be directed to the chair. Those in attendance who wish to comment can come up to the microphone on my left over here, give us your name and rec number. You'll have 2 minutes to make your comments. And for those watching on YouTube, you can type in your comments there, which we will see. Please be aware there's about a 30-second delay, so if you have any comments, we will be able to capture them. At the end of the meeting, after any final director comments, cardholders will have another opportunity to make comments. And with that, the first order of business is approval of the November 16th minutes. Are there any changes or corrections? Okay, they will stand as written. New business, first order of business is the golf lab contract. Golf Ops Manager Pat O'Hara will give us the
All right, good morning, everyone. Happy holidays.
morning.
The purpose of my presentation is to get approval of a 3-year contract for the DA Golf Lab, Dave Ahrens. Purpose of this presentation is the fact that it is a 3-year contract. In the past, Dave Ahrens has been working and operating off a 1-year contract, which is approved by the general manager. The manager can do 1-year contracts, but nothing more than 12 months. So a couple slides, brief overview of David Ahrens Golf Lab located at Grandview Golf Course. As I mentioned, the purpose of this presentation and the contract is 3 years, January 1st of 2024 through December 31st of 2026. Dave provides a lot of services that our staff in Golf Ops can't provide due to the hours and the function of the services, club repair, club fitting, and all of this has been well done by Dave last few years. We've built a really good rapport, and he just does an exceptional job. So you can see the listing of all the services that he provides. He does rent from us a square footage of 1,108 square feet at Grandview. For those that have been here for a long time, that used to be our old cart barn, and it was remodeled once we built the new cart barn. Dave works 6 days out of the week. Sunday he takes off, but his hours are typically 8:30. This is incorrect, 8:30 to 5. The majority of his time is spent promoting golf, selling golf equipment, and again, providing services. Since Dave's been here, this has allowed our staff, our PGA staff, to teach. The prior concessionaire, they had exclusivity where the golf pros that are employed by the rec center could not teach. So this has been an added bonus for us. Monthly rent is to the tune of $31.70 the first year of this contract, with 3% increase each year. What we provide Dave is a place to teach and club fit, as well as range balls. If he does any playing lessons, appropriate fees are paid by the student. Also in the Golf Lab is an indoor teaching facility, a simulator that we all have access to. So if you haven't been in there, you need to go see that setup. It's great, and he does a good job with it. We also provide some software for his scheduling function. He uses it at times, but we have that available for him. And as I mentioned, from a financial standpoint, this has been a superior relationship to prior ones. So we're actually, the rec center is financially better well off, and he's very easy to work with, and we enjoy Dave on property. So just asking for an approval of a 3-year contract for Dave Aaron and the golf lab.
Okay. Director Stenenbein, this was reviewed by your committee?
Yes.
And do you have a motion to make?
Yes. Per recommendation of the Golf Committee, I move that the governing board approve the 3-year Dave Arndt Golf Lab contract.
All right, do we have a second? Okay. All right, this requires a majority vote, and we'll take a voice vote starting with, oh yeah. Do you have any questions or want to discuss it? Sure, go ahead.
I have one question for you.
Yep.
What about insurance? Do we have any insurance liability since he's renting from us?
And he provides insurance for us on that side,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, are there any questions from the audience? Okay, seeing none, we're going to start with the vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
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 Okay, it passes. All right,
Thank you.
thank you, Pat. Number 2, facts and finding, Arizona Office of Tourism and Water Conservation Grant.
All right, good morning. Today I have a facts and findings for the Arizona Office of Tourism Grant Program. And just to give you a little background on the grant program, back in November of 2021, the Arizona Office of Tourism introduced a conservation grant program. This program was set up to provide funding for golf course water conservation projects. In January of 2022, the Environmental Services Department applied for and submitted all the required documents to the Arizona Office of Tourism for the program. And then on March 9th of 2022, the Recreation Centers of Sun City West was awarded a check in the amount of $420,000 for the 4 golf courses that exceed the 90 acres of irrigated turf, and those are Pebblebrook, Echo Mesa, Stardust, and Grandview. This money is to be used for water conservation projects like shoreline hardscape, turf removal, desert landscaping, and irrigation improvements. The projects that were submitted and approved for this program are turf removal on the street fronts and road crossings at the 3 courses. And then to comply with this grant program requirements, these projects need to be completed by March 31st of 2024. And I'd like to note that these projects will be outsourced and will go through the bidding process per policy FI-10. All of the areas planned for turf removal are out of play and will not require any course closures or disruption to the members. We've identified about 6 acres of turf to be removed for this project for an estimated water savings of about 20 acre-feet annually. And that was based off of a 3.3 acre-feet per acre rate that we came up with this summer with the Grandview project. So today, the general manager is requesting the governing board approve the authorization to contract the remaining balance of $262,000 of the Arizona Office of Tourism grant money to fund turf removal projects at Stardust, Echo Mesa, and Pebblebrook. And I'd like to add that we're looking at starting this project probably the 2nd week of January. So we'd like to start that so that we have time to complete that before the March 31st deadline. Get that all. So it's one of those things, you either use it or lose it. So we have to use that money up. And if we don't use it by the 31st, then we have to give that money back. And that's the last thing I want to do, because we've worked so hard to get this grant money. There was a lot of time and effort that went into this. I would hate to give that money back. So, and then just another side note, there were, in the state of Arizona, there were 34 golf courses that were awarded money. So we were 4 of them. So it's pretty good, so.
Okay, and just to be clear, this is money that we already have.
Yes, sir.
And so really what we're asking is the general manager for the board to give approval for him to spend the rest of that money.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. All right. Director Stenenbein?
Per recommendation of the Golf Committee, I move that the governing board authorize spending the remaining $262,000 balance of the Arizona Office of Tourism and water conservation grant funds on Sun City West golf courses as described in the facts and findings.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a second? All right. We have any discussion on this? Questions? Yes.
Just a real quick question, for either of you. It sounds as though we must spend this money on those 4 courses.
Yes.
And not for any other ancillary. We have no discretion, in other words, for the general manager to spend it on other things. Not that you would. Exactly. Well, just wanted to put it.
Yeah.
If there are any questions or concerns that may be rising in people's minds, it is strictly for those 4 courses, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And then when we filed the paperwork, we had to have the details that go along exactly where and what projects this was going to go to before we even received the money, so.
So my trip
Pretty-
to
pretty-
Mexico coming up is on me.
Yeah,
I
that's
shouldn't
probably on
even
hold
joke,
for a little
but
bit.
seriously, thank you for just clarifying for the record.
Okay,
Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right. Any other questions? Director Rhodes?
I would say this is probably the easiest decision that I've had to make in a long time. So I wish they were all this simple. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And yeah, thank you to the staff for working so hard for the grant money. Congratulations, and thank you on behalf of the community.
All right, thank you.
All right. Any more comments from the board? Any comments from the audience on this topic? Okay. Harry, would you read the motion again, please?
Per recommendation of the Golf Committee, I move that the governing board authorize spending the remaining $262,000 balance of the Arizona Office of Tourism and Water Conservation Grant Funds on Sun City West golf courses as described in the facts and findings.
Okay, we're going to do a voice vote. So Harry, I'll start on your end.
Yes.
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 Yes,
Yes.
Okay, it passes. Moving right along. 3.03, lawn bowling benches, R&R expenditure, timing, general manager.
Thank you, President Hurley. Good morning, everyone. Just want to give a little bit of feedback based on a meeting we recently had that was talking about the potential of acquiring benches earlier than they are budgeted for, which is July 1 of this coming year, fiscal year. Carl Wilhelm is not here today, so I am carrying the water for Carl. He is home. I don't know if I just want to give him a shout out, as his mother did seriously since shortly a while ago had passed away. And so he's home dealing with that and the holidays as well. So if you're watching today, Carl, hats off and Merry Christmas and be well. Relative to the benches, Carl had been doing some capital improvement work over there at the lawn bowling facility, working on some roof repair. And at that point, the club had kind of talked to him about the potential of maybe moving forward a project that was scheduled for next year as far as getting some benches replaced. There are 92 benches over at the lawn bowling facility, half of which are metal, expanded metal with a rubber coating on them, have a very long-lasting lifespan. The other half are kind of a plastic material, living outdoors 360 days a year. In the weather environments here, plastic expands and contracts. And some of these benches, almost all of them, have a crack in them. So not a safety issue, they're definitely usable. So we had assessed those and kind of had some communication with the members over there at lawn bowling, and they had inquired if possible that we could get these things replaced prior to an upcoming tournament in January. That was discussed amongst Carl and staff. We went out and Carl visited with a couple of contractors, and the issue at hand was supply chain. Can we get these if we order them soon? Can we get them by January on this particular tournament date? And the answer was no. And so basically at that point in time, the project was dropped and we were going to assume that July 1, we'd take care of the project. It had been brought back to our attention that there are more than one tournaments coming up in the spring, and based on a timing scenario, could we relook at that issue and revisit that issue? Carl did go out and speak with the vendors again, talking a little bit about delivery and cost. We did get 3 bids, and 2 of the 3 companies can get these benches to us by late January. The low bid of $22,533.14 from Top Tree Products is the low bid on that. And so at this point, the decision based on a Budget and Finance Committee recommendation was to approve this project moving forward if the benches could be delivered on time. That has been kind of massaged a little bit and taking the time off of it, obviously. And so we are just asking today if the governing board's decision or desire is to move this project forward.
All right, Director Rhodes, this has been reviewed by your committee.
It has, and we do have a recommendation on that. I won't read it, but I would like to make a few preface comments, is that, as Mr. Swin said, we did wish to forward a recommendation to the governing board that if we could get the benches by January, that we could move it forward. Somehow this has kind of taken a life of its own, because it's really, what we're really doing is taking it off of the plan for next year and bringing it forward. I think that, well, I want to read now the recommendation from the Budget and Finance Committee, and then, as Bill said, it's been tweaked a little bit from, per recommendation of the Budget and Finance Committee and after consideration by the governing board, I move that the governing board approve the acquisition of 48 new lawn bowling club benches for $22,533.14 for a late January 24 arrival.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Christine? All right, do we have any questions for Dick on this? Comments? Christine?
As I believe the rest of the board is aware, and anybody here, if you don't know, I serve on the Budget and Finance Committee as well. So I was present for the discussion. At question at the time, the amount was a little different. And the big question at the time, we had the impression from what the committee was looking at, that there was one tournament, first of all.
Right.
And the big concern or question was, well, if we can't get the benches by that period of time, then it seemed to the committee at the time that there was really no reason to advance this earlier. With new information, I feel confident that if we had taken the time, right? The other thing to note, just for all of us, and this is not, it's just time of year and all the circumstances that went on. The committee met and made this recommendation a month ago. So it was November 21st. And so we fell out of timing, if you will, in terms of having the governing board actually consider this recommendation earlier. I just wanted to point out a few things. Is that,
Okay.
I think that's fair.
Any other comments? Jack?
I have a question. At one point, we talked about 96 benches, and then we cut the number in half. So what are the numbers that we're looking at right now?
These are the numbers Carl went through, and they determined that this is the right number of benches that should be replaced.
Okay, so the 48 is the half that we talked about.
Yeah, I'm going to defer that.
Yeah, Jack, thank you. The 90-some odd benches that we're referring to out there are the total number of benches out there, half of which are an expanded metal. And the 48 that we're talking about are the plastic ones. And so that was the planned next fiscal year. That was the replacement of the plastic benches.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we all know, that I knew the numbers, what they were, so thank you.
Dick?
I would like to make one comment. Even with the new wording on this, it's direct. It still brings back to life our recommendation from Budget and Finance Committee, because our recommendation was, if we can get them for the January tournament, that we would recommend the governing board approve those. And this is validation that we can do that.
Okay.
So, I would say that even though this is modified, this is really the spirit of what our recommendation was.
Okay, very good. Any other? Yes, Lisa?
Thank you, President Hurley. And with Dick's information, also I'd like to share that I think there was an email we received as well from the president of lawn bowling, that besides this January tournament, I think there are 3 more tournaments or more on the books for the remainder of the 23-24 year.
Okay.
So these benches will be extremely helpful.
All right. Any other comments? Any comments from the audience on this topic? Okay, before we vote, Dick, would you read the motion again, please?
Per the recommendation of the Budget and Finance Committee and after consideration by the Governing Board, I move that the Governing Board approve the acquisition of 48 new lawn bowling club benches for $22,533.14 for a late January 2024 arrival.
Okay, a yes vote will approve the motion, a no vote will deny it. Christine?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Harry? Okay, very good. That concludes the businesses that we have today. We're going to now ask for director comments. Harry, do you have any comments? Lisa?
No.
Jack?
No.
Okay.
No comments.
Dick?
No comment.
Christine?
No, no comments.
Okay. I do have a comment, and since this is the last meeting of this calendar year, just want to wish everybody happy holidays and exciting new year in 2024. All right, we have an audience member coming down to make a comment.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Tracy Anderson, 132045. My heart's beating out of my chest right now. Thank you so much. Lawn bowling president, thank you. Just one thing. After the meeting, I have a special guest here that I would like all of you to meet, if that would be possible. She is the president of Bowls USA. Would that be possible for you
Sure.
to all meet her? Okay,
Sure.
thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'd like my comment to be entered into the minutes.
Does anyone have an objection to entering into the minutes? All right. Sorry.
Okay. I respectfully request additional time for my comment to be read.
You'll have 2 minutes.
On 3 previous occasions, I've provided you with substantiated evidence of Mr. Hurley's willful violation of the confidentiality policy when he posted private information on social media pertaining to a closed hearing. I received a certified letter from you stating that Mr. Hurley had a mistaken recollection that it was your understanding that he removed the post when he realized his error. For the record, any implication that Mr. Hurley removed his comment from social media would be a lie. I contacted the administrator and they removed it per my request. Mr. Hurley received a message from them explaining it was deleted due to my claim that he broke confidentiality rules. The last hearing took place under Governing Board President Jim Sloan in 2019. That was an open hearing. So it is highly unlikely that Mr. Hurley was merely mistaken. I requested 3 steps for resolution: a written apology, disciplinary action, and retraction on the same social media site that the confidentiality breach took place. There has been no written apology nor retraction on social media. A letter from the governing board stating that he was mistaken is not an apology. Mr. Hurley refuses to take responsibility for his breach of confidentiality. If the governing board refuses to enforce this request for resolution, the community will see that Mr. Hurley is being protected, that the rules do not apply to him, and that the governing board will not hold him accountable. With the documented evidence I provided and Mr. Hurley's inappropriate behavior you witnessed on December 8th Governing Board Workshop meeting, any governing board member who continues to support Mr. Hurley regarding this issue need to question their ability to provide fair and impartial judgment. People must be held accountable for their actions. And
Time's
that
up.
includes
Ms.
the
Johnson.
president of the governing board. Again, I
Ms. Johnson,
request
I'm
the
sorry,
three
your time
metrics
is
be
up.
met to demonstrate that the rules do apply to everyone. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes. You can always
I
try to
got-
recall me. Oh, wait, you
I
did.
got,
Tim,
again, inappropriate.
I'm sorry, your time is up, Ms. Johnson. And I do apologize that it was not Tim's mistake that the post, he did not say that he took down the post. That was information that was given to us erroneously, so I do apologize for that. That was not his mistake.
Lynn Kellis, 129120. I just want to say hats off to all of you and all the noise that you've put up with the last few months. And I think you all do a fantastic job. And I just want to thank you personally, every one of you, for hanging in there and continuing to be strong and doing a wonderful job for our community.
Thank
Happy
you.
holidays to you.
Thank you.
Due to Mr. Hurley's inability to take ownership of his actions speaks to his integrity as a leader. I request the governing board discuss this and ask Mr. Hurley to step down as president and elect someone else to be the leader, the community that we deserve. The governing board as a whole should take note that 44% of the voting community did express dissatisfaction with those board members identified in the recall and are not satisfied with the state of affairs. Things need to change. Steps need to be taken. And Mr. Hurley made a comment in the Valley News about how he would set aside any differing opinions. The fact that you were recalled was a differing opinion, and I hope you'll respect that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, as always.
Okay. Um, 132268, Jolene Paskowski. I'm just kind of concerned about our GM weekly report. It has not been updated since October of 23 of this year. Just wondering what's going on there. I know Kathy retired in March, and I know we asked Bill to write written and submitted in the GM ops, which he has not done. Because as a resident, I look at those GM weekly reports just to see what he's doing and to see what his crew is doing and to see what he's up against, right? Because it's important to know, because we all live a life that think it's all good. Except for this man has probably 8 managers underneath him. And as a resident, we need to say, oh, yeah, there's Ross. He had a broken pipe, or he had this and he had that. That's a whole other issue. So I'm just kind of wondering why we're not seeing those weekly reports.
Would you like to respond?
We have a series of informational outlets that we provide, be it on the internet or my weekly reports and that type of thing. I've had a conversation with our staff. We meet weekly. Some of the things that we talk about on a weekly basis oftentimes kind of take a while to evolve. And so the report is a bit redundant. And so I had a conversation with Tim recently and talked about maybe doing this. We do a monthly report as far as a GM operations program, where we get a little bit more of an opportunity of a window to kind of go from how a project begins to when a project ends. So from a communication standpoint, we're taking a little more time in between reports. Weekly updates are a little bit kind of a slow drag, per se. I mean, if we're painting a building and it takes more than a week, we report that we're still painting the building. So it just gives us a little more time, I think, to breathe and talk about issues as they come along. And I think Tim agreed that we could maybe move this into maybe a 2-week or a more of a monthly report. The weeklies are just
Okay,
a little bit excessive.
except for the last one was 1023. And I
Right.
get that. I totally understand it.
Mhm.
But communication is all that in a bag of chips. So on 10/31, if you guys already discussed that,
Right.
it would have been nice to have a GM weekly report saying, hey, guys, we're going to break this down to only a monthly report, so don't be looking for it, okay? And maybe we would change that to not weekly report, but to monthly report. Just saying.
Still in the process, but thank you.
You know, communication is all that. It's
We're all
very,
about that.
yeah, it's important. There was one other thing, too. I can't remember. Okay, thanks.
Any other comments? If not,
Bill Weaver, 124087. I would like to see the reintroduction of the 5-year plan. I am not aware of any organization of this size that does not do advanced planning, and I think it would help with communication and alleviate a lot of questions that people have throughout meetings and throughout the year.
okay, it's been discussed, and there'll be at the mid-year meeting, there'll be an update on that.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other comments? Okay, I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 9:31. Thank you. Happy holidays.